Hey guys, so you guys probably heard the news that Charlie Kirk was shot, and it's not looking good. From the initial reports, it didn't look good, and in general, it's not looking good. But we continue to daven for him. Guys, in this day and age, given everything that's happened with Israel and everything that's happening with Israel, and the fact that we're getting, kind of obliterated ideologically, verbally, what have you, from both sides of the political spectrum. You have this whole movement called the Groypers, the woke right. You also have the left, obviously. Islamists. Charlie Kirk, I gotta tell you guys, Charlie Kirk is one of the few, I would include him, in Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. They have this plaque, for the righteous of the nations, the people who basically saved Jews during the Holocaust. I would include him in that, under that category. There's not many people, non-Jews, who are willing to stick their necks out in terms of high profile, in a way that he has done, in the way that Charlie has done over the last however many years, especially since October 7th. A lot of people in his space have gone in a different direction, have gone in the direction we didn't think they would go. I'm not going to say names right now, it doesn't really matter, but he, this is a guy who sits at a table in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of college students who have been inundated, who have been bombarded daily by their professors about everything, or with everything, that goes directly against Hashem and biblical principles, Torah principles, directly against Israel, directly against Jews. And here's a guy who sits there and, in the words of Colonel Slade, faces the fire, right? He sits there and faces the fire. And he does it every day, and he does it tirelessly. Yeah, listen, thank God makes parnasa from it, but he's seemingly the only person who could speak to this generation of kids who have fallen prey to these ideologues on college campuses, these professors, and he says, listen, I have my beliefs in God, I have my biblical beliefs, I'm not going to waver from those beliefs. This is what gives me really the direction, or what directs me to stand up for Israel, for the people of Israel, for the Jewish people, and I'm not gonna back down from that. And he did not. He has not. And it's, folks, it's very rare. You don't find that every day. It's very, very rare. You could say, well, people like him, private life, whatever. That's true. I've met people like him. I met plenty of people like him. Don't get me wrong, but a high-profile person like that in public, you could say he may have a lot to lose, right? You could say, well, there's another person. There's people like, whatever, Pat Robertson's son, and there's all kinds of people, these like preachers, evangelical groups. What's his name? Mike Huckabee, Glenn Beck. But folks, that is true. But from what I could see, I'm not taking anything away from those people, but from what I could see, Charlie Kirk is the guy that Hashem put in front of this generation. And he is the guy that Hashem designated to speak to this generation and to basically set them straight. Whether or not they agree with him, whether or not they end up agreeing with him, it's not the point, Rabbi Mizrahi likes to say, sometimes, I talk and people, I know I'm not reaching most people in terms of people listening to me and kind of agreeing with me, but he goes, you install the CD, and okay, all you got to do is to put the CD in the back when we used CDs, right? or install the file on the computer. You don't know when that file is going to be installed, but you just put it on the computer. You don't know when the program is going to start running, right? So Charlie's doing just that. He's sitting at a table in front of hundreds of thousands of kids, and he's arguing with them, and he's trying to speak to them in good faith, as good a faith as possible. He doesn't personally insult them. They insult him. He faces their insult. He faces their, the slings and the arrows. And he sits there, and he's just like, listen, prove me wrong, right? And he just, folks, there are certain demographics of people to which, or certain, how should I put this? Like, for example, guys, Rabbi Tovia Singer, he's the only person right now fighting a certain battle in Israel, where everybody, there's organizations trying to convert people, right? He's the only person fighting that battle. Charlie Kirk is the only person that's fighting the battle that he's fighting, folks. He's the only person. So whoever did this knows that, and he knows two things. He knows, one, if he gets rid of Charlie Kirk, the battle becomes that much harder, right? And also he wants to incite more violence. He wants to incite a reaction. He wants to show the world. You see how violent these conservatives are, these MAGAs are, these with all their guns, with all this, with all that, folks. This is a very, very precarious moment. You could say in American history, really in world history. Because the question is, guys, what's going to be? I was just on the phone with my friend, Frank. What's going to be? What? They want us to react? They want us to go, I don't know, vigilante, revenge stuff, right? What are they looking for here, right? They're going to go on television, they're going to gaslight, right? Everybody. They're going to blame whomever, right? They already said it. Oh, it was probably one of his supporters, where the gun went off of one of his supporters. That was in MSNBC. Folks, that was their immediate. It wasn't to say, oh, an assassin, right? No, even though we saw that there was a guy was already arrested. My friends, this is, to me, this is the equivalent. If you could label, God forbid, taking a shot at Trump as A, under the category of A, you can label this as A1. It's like, I don't want to say it's exactly equivalent, but it's like just slightly, Trump's assassination attempt, had something worse happened, it would have been, this is slightly almost in that category, folks. As important, as earth-shattering. And I really hope this doesn't lead to more violence. And honestly, I hope he pulls through. But folks, you just have to understand. You have to remember and know, there are not a lot of people like Charlie Kirk doing the job that he's doing. There are not a lot of people like. Actually, I don't even know if there are any others for the generation that he's doing it. Right? What is he, 30 years old, or maybe maximum, I think, late 20s, early 30s? I mean, he's speaking to this, destroyed generation. Mentally, psychologically destroyed, emotionally destroyed generation. He's speaking to them. He's trying to revive their whatever's left of their brain. Reignite whatever's left over there. And in the process, he's standing up for Israel, the Jewish people. I don't know, folks. You don't get too much of that around here, around these parts. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Shat Hashem. All right. Talk soon.